Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night time, wherever and whenever you may be watching this. Hope you're all doing super well. I feel like I should start by stating the obvious. I know this is a video that's been done countless times before, but I just figured, I have some fragrances that smell somewhat similar to Aventus. I may as well just add one more opinion to the mix. Hopefully it'll help people decide perhaps what not to buy, what to buy. It'll just give a bit more of a spectrum. So the fragrances that are up for discussion today, guys, starting with, of course, Creed Aventus. This is a 75ml bottle that I bought back in just over a year ago now, so I am sort of taking my time with it because Creed Aventus is very expensive juice. If you don't know, have a look up online just to be intrigued by that price. I think they've recently gone up again and they've changed their sizes, so yeah, it's very expensive juice. I think it's amazing. I do think that I haven't smelled anything that is exactly like it, but with this video that may prove me wrong. The second fragrance that I'm putting into the mix is none other than Club de Nuit Intense Man by Armaf. This is probably, I would say this is probably the most popular clone. Not saying it's most popular in that it's the closest to Aventus in my opinion. I think it's just the most talked about. It for some reason received the most hype. This is the one that a lot of people recommend. If you love Aventus but you haven't got the money to splash out on it, this is what to get. The price difference is crazy. I think this cost me something like £20 when I bought it, and I think it's like a weird amount, like 130 ml or 125 ml of juice. But Club de Nuit Intense Man is the second fragrance. The third fragrance in the mix, guys, is Vibrant Leather by the house Zara. Again, another very cheap fragrance. This one it wasn't as popular back when Club de Nuit Intense Man came out, but it gained a little bit of notoriety at the start of this year, I think. But yeah, Zara Vibrant Leather, again, another good cheapie, about £20, £25 I paid for this. And the fourth and final fragrance, guys, is one that isn't talked about too much. I discovered this house from Mr. Smelly, who I know you guys know and love, but it's called Laboratory Perfumes, and this fragrance is called Amber. Again, not talked about too much, but according to online forums, and again, I think Mr. Smelly does mention it, it does share similarities with Aventus, which is surprising because Laboratory Perfumes, a UK house, they've got, I think, 5 or 6 different offerings, but one of them is also highly compared to Virgin Island water. So I wouldn't call them a clone house by any means, but they do seem to have 2 fragrances that do strongly resemble Creed's. These are the 4 fragrances. I've sprayed them on the cards about 45 minutes, 50 minutes ago, just to give them a bit of time to settle down. I will be spraying them again, sort of initial spray, initial impression, but I've never actually done this before. I've never put the 4 on cards and sort of smelt them blindly and not known what is which, and so I'm curious to what I think about this, how close they actually are. I can't actually see what's on the backs, but I have put initials on the front so I can sort of say what they are after. Again, I'm mixing them up now, guys. I know it's easier said than done, but I, hand on heart, have no idea where the different cards are. Okay, I promise you I don't. So I'm just going to give a really quick first blast. I don't know if you can tell what that is, guys, by the initials. Like I said, it's either going to be something like Zara, CDN, which is Club de Nuit, which is Aventus by Creed, or it'll say Lab for Laboratory. Okay, guys? Okay, personally, I think I can tell what that is straight away. I would be very surprised, and I really hope I'm not wrong with this now because I look like a fool, man. I really think that is CDN. I think that's Club de Nuit Intense Man. That's just my opinion because I think it has one of the harshest, out of the 4, it's the harshest, in my opinion. When I've smelled it on skin, it's the most synthetic smelling, and even after 45 minutes to me, that still smells really, I'd be very surprised if that's Club de Nuit. I'm not going to bet any money on it in case I'm wrong, but Club de Nuit for the first one, that's what I think. The second one, okay. Oh man, oh no. And I thought Aventus was like crazy unique. I'm not going to do any cuts, so I'm just going to try and do this in one take because otherwise I could have looked at the different cards. I don't know, I really have no idea. You know what? I'm maybe going to say Aventus with that. If it is Aventus, I think I've written on there AVEN on the card. I'm going to have to go with Aventus on that one. Oh! Third one, I don't know where it's between at this point. Okay, smelling this, I'm more confident that the second one is Aventus, because I was a bit I'm in an iron, but I'm quietly confident that I know this isn't Aventus. I know it's not. This is laboratory amber. That's my guess for that one. That's got to be laboratory amber. And the reason I say that is it smells a little bit like Aventus, it does, but it also reminds me of another fragrance by Laboratory Perfumes called Tonka, which I absolutely love. Tonka is my favourite from Laboratory Perfumes. If you're looking for a sort of classic fragrance redefined, look at Tonka. But it has a hint of it, so I'm guessing sort of similar materials, similar, oils used and things like that. I'm going to go that that's LAB for Laboratory Perfumes Tonka. And the fourth one, so by all accounts, this should be Vibrant Leather by Zara. Okay, let me say right off the bat that the two that smell closest to Aventus are number 2 and number 4. It is close, okay? 1 and 3 were distinguishable to me. I thought they had key characteristics that separated them from Aventus. Number 2 smelled like Aventus a lot. Number 4 smells like Aventus a lot, which leads me to believe that this is either Aventus or it must be Zara Vibrant Leather. I'm going to stick. I'm going to stick with what I said. I think number 1 was Club de Nuit Intense Man. I think number 2 was Aventus. I think number 3 was Laboratory Perfumes, and I think this is Zara. That's just my personal opinion. I'm going to turn it around now to see what I've picked. All right, yeah, boy. Okay, number 4 is Zara. Number 3 is Lab, which I think I said. Number 2 is Aventus, and number 1 is Club de Nuit. I'm well happy with that. I'm very impressed with myself, because sometimes perhaps it's just the fact they're on card. Maybe I should have sprayed it on skin. But I feel like I could pick up quite distinguishable differences between the 4. Apart from numbers 2, that's obviously number 2. Number 2 and number 4. So guys, that's just my take on it. On that, based on what I've just said, to me, if you're going to go for an Aventus clone, your best one is going to be Zara's Vibrant Leather. Really cheap fragrance. As I said, 20, maybe £25 at a push. It's got quite different notes to Aventus from memory. I think it's got like bamboo in there and things like that. And maybe it's got some sort of like milk accord, someone was saying. But it smelled like Aventus on the card. In regards to Club de Nuit Intense, guys, I know from spraying this on clothes and giving it hours and hours that eventually it does share like more similarities with Aventus, but I think the price in this comes through in the smell. I think for the first hour, like it's been nearly an hour now since I sprayed it, the very first opening is sharp and synthetic, and I don't like it. And even after an hour, I still think it smells synthetic. I personally wouldn't go for this. I've done a review on it. It's somewhere on the channel, but it's for the same price. You may as well go for Vibrant Leather by Zara. And the fragrance that's not too talked about on the community, Amber by Laboratory Perfumes. I think this is, whereas I think Club de Nuit Intense and Zara Vibrant Leather are trying to be similar to Aventus, I'm not too sure that this is. I think this just has certain aspects which people go, okay, yeah, it does smell a bit like that Creed fragrance, but I think very much it's going for its own thing, and in that it's good. It's a nice smelling fragrance. It doesn't smell cheap, doesn't smell synthetic, but it has its own thing going on. So that's it, guys. That's just my take. If you've got a fragrance that you think smells spot on to Aventus, or you would rather Club de Nuit Intense Man to Vibrant Leather by Zara, let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to find out what your opinions are. Thanks, guys.